Austria is a country that may not come up in the media all the time, but it is an important place with a fascinating culture and people, and of course history. And today here on FTD Facts, we are looking at the great country of Austria and finding out what is interesting about this country. It is a country that has its own unique story and has made its own individual contributions to the world. A place and people who have their own way of doing things that may be different from the rest of Europe. Hey everybody, what's going on? Dave Walpole here. Welcome to FTD Facts, the channel where we usually talk about people, cultures, and places from all around the world. Now, yeah, we're talking about Austria because, well, we've done some videos on Germany in the last little bit. We've done stuff on other European countries, and for this video, actually quite a bit of you guys actually recommended that we talk about Austria, so this is our time to actually do it. Now keep in mind when we do these videos, guys, sometimes we leave out facts, so if there's anything that we left out, be sure to let us know down here in the comments section below. Also, just to remind you guys, this episode is brought to you by Grammarly.com. They're our sponsor, and I'll talk about that more at the end of this video. So let's get rolling with it, guys. Let's find out what is fascinating about this really unique country known as Austria and what it is definitely doing different from the rest of the places on the planet. So when it comes to Austria, it might be a country that is very similar to Germany, but that doesn't mean that they are German because the country itself has its own borders and land that stretches out to 83,879 kilometers square, making the country the 113th largest country in the world. And throughout these borders, the people of Austria have their own unique rules, and they've got their own different types of people. And when it comes to population, they have roughly 8,794,000 people, ranking 96th in the world, with a population density of 104 people per square kilometer. Now, of course, being next to Germany, the main language is German, coming in at 88.4%. And about 2.4% speak Serbian, 2.3% speak Turkish, and 1.3% Croatian. And of course, there are many other different languages that are under the 1%. However, with all these people combined, approximately 81% of all these people are straight up Austrians. So that's just a basic idea, guys. When you go, oh yeah, you're probably from Germany, no, they're different. Austrians are different from Germans. Now, we did talk about land size, but when it does come to the land, Austria is known to be a very mountainous country, with most of the country being a part of the Alps. And actually about only 32% of the country is under 1,640 feet above sea level, which basically means most of the country is up very high. But what is the highest point of Austria? Well, that goes to Mount Großglockner, which is the highest mountain in Austria. Coming in at 12,461 feet, she is actually the highest point in the Alps east of Brenner Pass. And although people have been living in Europe for quite a long time and a lot of Europe was discovered way back in the day, this mountain was not documented until 1561. So with all these people living up in very high mountainous areas, one thing that Austrians are known for is alpine skiing. What is alpine skiing? Well, basically it's downhill skiing. That's right, taking skis and going downhill. It's my favorite thing to do. As a matter of fact, the people of Austria are known from all around the world for being great downhill skiers, with skiing being the most prominent sport within the country. And one thing that's really important about skiing, Austria is pretty much the place where it invented modern day alpine skiing. This is because the design for steel edges on skis was invented in 1928 in Austria. As well, when it comes to skiing, one thing that's really amazing about Austria is the little villages that you can go to for skiing. They just look so quaint and quiet, and I just love these little villages that you can go to. And one of the most famous places that you can go for skiing is Arlberg, and it's not just famous because of skiing, but this is also the region where Hans Schneider invented modern day ski techniques almost a century ago. Now, okay, we could talk about skiing in Austria for a long time because it's the most prominent sport in the country and there's just so much history to it. But moving right along, one thing that's fascinating about Austria is that on January 1st of 1995, the country did decide to join the European Union. However, although they're part of the European Union, they're actually not a part of NATO. One of the reasons is because when Austria became neutralized after the USSR and the Allied countries removed their occupation in 1956, Austria pretty much from there on decided that they just wanted to be a neutral country because of the issues that happened in World War II. They just didn't want to be a part of anything bad that would happen in the future. Therefore, the country swore itself into neutrality and remained from war. Now, Austria, as a matter of fact, fact, she stands at 6th in the world when it comes to economic complexity. The country makes $141 billion in exports and about $146 billion in imports. And comparing Austria to other countries that we've talked about here on FTD Facts, one unique thing about Austria is that it doesn't really have a prime import or export. That's right, the country seems to export and import a little bit of everything. Because, for example, their highest percentage of imports is cars, coming in at 5.6%. And out of all their imports and exports, Austria is labeled as one of the wealthiest countries in the entire world. As a matter of fact, in 2014, it was listed as 21st in the world when it came to the Human Development Index scale. And this is probably due to the fact that, Austria has just been a great country that's been around for such a long time, and it's been such an important place when it comes to history. And diving into this history slightly, when we talk about the country's flag, it is actually one of the oldest in the world. Although it was officially adopted in 1918, the style of the flag has been thought to have been adopted by the coat of arms of the Babenberg dynasty, which is roughly around the 12th and 13th century. And diving even further into this country's past, the country has had multiple days in history of independence, even dating back to 976 AD when it became the Margraviate of Austria. But however, its official year of foundation was in 1804 when it became known as the Austrian Empire. As well as diving into their history, Austria is a country that has provided a lot of great musical composers from the classical era. You have great composers such as Mozart, and even though Beethoven was born in Germany, he lived in many years in Austria composing music. And on top of that, there's also Johann Strauss, Joseph Haydn, and Franz Schubert. And the reason for this is because Vienna was such a huge important center or hub for music way back in the day. And actually, if we're going to talk about Vienna, we should probably mention some really cool, interesting features about this place. For example, it is home to one of, if not the world's largest emerald. This is the Emerald Ungatarian, which is 2,860 carats, and it might have been carved out of a Colombian mine in 1641, but it is now on display at the Imperial Treasury in Vienna, Austria. And also when it comes to Vienna, the city itself is pretty much completely a UNESCO zone. Although Austria may have 10 UNESCO zones all over the country, with 9 of them being cultural and 1 being natural, which basically when it comes to its natural zone, that's the primeval forests of the country, Vienna is listed as one of the most important cities and listed as a UNESCO zone because of its importance in history. And one thing, as we mentioned before, it just was a place that provided so many great composers in history. And to break it down, when it comes to Vienna, about 371 hectares or 3.71 kilometers square of the city is considered a protected UNESCO zone. Of this city, about 75% of it is owned by individual people, and 18% of it is publicly owned, while 7% is owned by the Roman Catholic Church. And you know what? I don't really want this video to just be focused on Vienna, but there is one thing that Vienna does have that no other country can ever claim, and I mean, Austria can claim it too because it's, within Austria. And that is the Tiergarten Schönbrunn Zoo, which is the world's oldest zoo. And not only that, but it's also special because it's one of the few zoos in the world that can house the giant pandas. As well, Austria can claim that this zoo had the first panda to be birthed by natural insemination in all of Europe. And this was baby panda Fu, which happened on August 23rd of 2007. And on top of that, Austria can also claim that they had the first elephant born in captivity on July 14th of 1906. However, as for the zoo itself, it opened in 1752, like I said, making it the world's oldest zoo. But one thing that's really fascinating about this is that there was also a zoo that existed since 1540 in the same grounds before this zoo was ever created. So this place was just destined to have a zoo there. I don't know. And now I'm going to jump off the Vienna topic because I've been talking about Vienna for so long, but it is a very interesting city. But I got to talk about one thing that Austria has that no other country can claim. And that is the country has the world's longest ice cavern. This is the Austrian Isrisenwald Caves, which are natural limestone caves, and they are sometimes referred to as the world of the ice giants, because this long cave goes approximately 42 kilometers deep. And although it was officially discovered in 1879, locals did know of the cave before, but they refused to explore it because they thought it was an entrance to hell. Either way, this fascinating natural structure attracts over 20,000 tourists a year and is really quite an amazing thing to see. So that is just a look at the great country known as Austria, a country that there is just not enough time to talk about when it comes to not only its culture, but its history. Which reminds me guys, if we forgot anything, be sure to let us know down there in the comments section below, because we generally like to do part 2s to our videos. And on top of that guys, my name is Dave Wapla, and I want to thank you guys all for joining me here and learning about Austria. And for our reoccurring viewers, I want to thank you guys for joining here all the time and learning about new cultures and expanding your minds. And before you guys get out of here, just to remind you, this video has been brought to you by Grammarly.com. These guys are a great sponsor that really help improve your English. Literally, you can download the program for free, and as you're typing online, it will help improve your grammar. It's really fantastic. I love using it, and it's free! And of course, right at the end of this episode, I got other videos for you guys to check out, which I'm sure you guys will really love, so be sure to check those ones out. But this is the country of Austria, a nation that is not just amazingly beautiful, but has a history and architecture that stands still today from a time long past. A place that has made so much contributions to the world, both old and new. This is the country of Austria, a place with a culture and people filled with sophistication and valor, where one may go to the top of the Alps to get a deep breath of the cool, crisp mountain air and take in the beautiful scenery to reflect on what truly makes us important. So thanks for watching guys. This has been FTD Facts, the channel where we talk about people, places, and cultures from all around the world. Now, those videos I was telling you about, check out this one on Germany. I'm sure you guys will really love it. And on top of that, check out our new series, which is called Which Country is Better, where we compare 2 different countries and find out which one your favorite is. So check those ones out, and if you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button and tune in every single day, because we always generally have something new for you.